When I was 10 years old, my father passed away, and 2 years later, at the age of 12, my mom married my stepdad. My mom decided to change her last name to match my stepdad's when they got married. I refused to have mine changed as I thought it was unnecessary. I didn't really like my stepdad or stepbrothers at all, but I tried my best to get along with them. It was going all right until I was 13 because this man decided it would be best to move away from my family so we can be closer to his. I remember begging not to go and asking my mom if I could stay with my uncle, my dad's brother, or my grandparents, my dad's parents. But she refused, stating that she wanted me close to her and that I'm her responsibility, not theirs. This is where the start of my relationship with my stepdad and mom started to decline. I absolutely started to hate him, and what made me hate him more is that because we moved so far away, the only way I could communicate with my dad's family was with my phone, because my family said it's too expensive and far away for them to visit us. And my mom said the same thing. Since we moved, I have not seen my family in person in 3 years. What I'm wondering is if I'm the jerk during this situation right here. Basically, yesterday, my mom and stepdad came to talk to me while I was in the living room with my stepbrothers, male 16 and 18M. My mom started talking about how everyone in the family shared the same last name, except for me. And then she started to ask me how I would feel to have my last name changed to theirs. I immediately told my mom that I didn't want my last name to be changed, as I already said that when they got married. My mom said that she understood, but then said that if I didn't want to change my name, I should hyphenate it instead. But I told her that I didn't want to do that either. She then got upset and told me that she just wants us all to be a happy family, and that us having different last names makes it difficult since I'm mixed and she's white. She said that people often assume that I'm not hers, and that us not sharing a last name makes that harder. I told her that it was her choice to change her last name as well as her responsibility to change it, and that's what I want to keep. She got upset and told me that if I don't want to change my name, then she'll go to the court and get a petition to have it changed. To be fair, I didn't know, and still don't know, if she could actually do that or not. But at the time, I just told her that if she tried to change my name, then I'll just unalive myself. My mom got upset and started crying, saying that that was an unfair thing to say. But I told her what wasn't fair was her saying that she'd basically try and force me to change my name. After a little more back and forth of me assuring her that I was dead serious, I just left and went to my room. About an hour-ish later, my mom and stepdad came to talk to me again and asked me if I was again serious about me saying I'd unalive myself. I told them that I was serious and that I've been thinking about it for years. And if my mom could somehow actually force me to change my name, then this would just push me over the edge. My mom started to cry again and told me that she's going to contact the authorities because she was worried about me and didn't want me to unalive myself. I told her that as long as she doesn't try and force me to change my name, she wouldn't have to worry. My stepdad told me that he's worried about me too, and they can't be sure that I won't harm myself. I just told my stepdad that he can call the cops if he wants, but I'll promise that I'll be dead by the time they get here. When I said that, my mom started asking me how much I actually hate her. I told her that I didn't hate her and I love her, and if I hated her, I would have ended the life of myself a long time ago. I told my mom that I've been trying not to unalive myself because I know how much it'll hurt her, especially after losing Dad. But I told her that after a while, I have to put myself first and I'm not happy with my life. So if push comes to shove, I'm gonna unalive myself. I asked her if she was planning on going to the court again, and she told me no. I then asked her if she was planning on calling the cops on me, and she told me no. I then told her that they have nothing to worry about, so we're good. That happened last night. Today, when my stepbrother, male 18, was driving us, me and my other stepbrother, to school, he told me that what I said last night was fucked up, and that I needed to apologize to my mom and his dad for what I said. I got confused by this and told him that if anyone needed to apologize, it would be his dad and my mom instead. I told him that my mom basically told me she was going to try and force me to change my name, and I just told her what was going to happen if she did. I then told him that the best thing he could do would be to leave me alone and mind his business. That's what he did, and I appreciated that. We rode to school in silence after that, and home in silence as well. I barely spoke to my mom today, and haven't spoken to my stepdad at all. I wasn't too bothered by it, but I can tell when my mom was speaking to me, she was still upset. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You are not in jerk, but you need help. I am sorry that your mom and stepfamily are not taking your depression seriously. Furthermore, for her to say that your suicidal ideation means you hate her is messed up. Her feelings are not important right now, especially when her child just admitted that he wants to end his life. If you live in the US, can you look into emancipation? The requirements vary from state to state, but if you meet them, a judge can sign a court order called a Declaration of Emancipation. Your mom will no longer have a say in what you do, and you could live with your uncle or grandparents. If not, please tell your uncle or grandparents how you feel. Ask if there is anything they can do to help you get out of that house. And if for whatever reason they can't, then please know that in 2 years you can move away on your own. Things will get better when you are no longer around people who would make you feel bad for your depression. Trust me, I grew up in a family that was dismissive of my depression. It is hard, so much harder than people realize, but it gets a lot better, I promise. Comment 2. I will not call you a jerk because this is entirely beyond that, to be honest. You should tell your mom that the time it takes for her to go through the process of changing your last name, you will undo it once you turn 18. So she needs to realize that it is not going to happen, and all she is doing is wasting her time and money. The threat is definitely overkill for what the situation really is. What she needs to hear is that she is alienating herself from you with her demand, and it is all going to be for nothing once you turn 18 anyway. Now, for the update, thanks for sticking around for the update. So, the week started off with a bang, literally. My stepbrother, the 18-year-old, crashed the car on the way to school. No one was hurt, but the car was totaled. My stepdad was furious, not because of the accident, but because the car was a gift from his late father. It was like watching a pot boil over. He was all red in the face and yelling. My mom tried to calm him down, but he wouldn't have any of it. He blamed me, saying the stress I caused with the whole last name drama distracted his son while driving. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I wasn't even talking when it happened. But here's where it gets really twisted. My stepdad, in his anger, let slip that he had been using money from my college fund left by my dad to pay for his son's expenses. Expenses like the car that was now a mangled heap of metal. My mom was shocked. She didn't know. I felt betrayed. That money was the only thing my dad left for me, and my stepdad was walking all over his memory like it was nothing. I was so mad I could barely speak. But I didn't do anything about it. I just went to my room and stayed there. My mom came in later crying, saying she was sorry and that she didn't know. She said she'd make it right. But I didn't want to hear it. I felt like I was always the one getting the short end of the stick. The next day, my mom told me she had set up a meeting with a lawyer to get the money back. She was going to confront my stepdad. I didn't go with her, I just couldn't face him. When she came back, she told me they had a huge fight, but she had the paperwork to prove the money was mine. She said my stepdad agreed to pay it all back, with interest. I didn't know if I should be happy or sad. It felt good to know I'd get my dad's money back, but the whole situation just left a sour taste in my mouth. My mom and stepdad were barely speaking, and the house felt like a Cold War zone. And just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, my stepbrothers started treating me like I was the enemy. They blamed me for their dad being in trouble. I tried to ignore them, but it was hard. I felt alone in a house full of people. But then something unexpected happened. My oldest stepbrother, the one who crashed the car, came to me one evening. He said he overheard his dad talking to someone on the phone about selling the car for parts and keeping the money for himself. He said he realized his dad was not the man he thought he was. He apologized for blaming me and said he wanted to help make things right. We talked for a long time, and it felt good to clear the air. It was like we were finally seeing each other as people, not just step-siblings. He even offered to help me with the legal stuff, said he'd testify if it came to that. The week ended with my mom and me visiting my dad's grave. We talked about everything that had happened. She promised that from now on she'd put me first. It was a small comfort, but it was something. Thanks for reading. My girlfriend has an accident in bed and I clean the mess, but she cheats with her ex. So I cancel our lease and leave her homeless. Throw away. Not just for privacy reasons, but my friends and family have my main, and I don't want them to know about this. My girlfriend and I have been together for 2 years, living together for 6 months now. Last week, Saturday, my girlfriend had an accident during the night in our bed. The curry we ate for dinner that night didn't agree with her. I woke up around 3 a.m. from her screaming and sobbing. I was woken up and panicked myself because I didn't know what happened. I jumped out of bed and put the lights on and saw it. It looked horrible. It wasn't a little bit, and it was the running kind. Everything was covered. I even had some on me. I don't know how long it took to register what happened, but I only snapped out of it when she yelled at me. I ran into the bathroom and started to fill the tub with water and also started the shower. I went back into the room to get her. She was sobbing so much that she was shaking. I helped her get undressed and put her through the shower first, helped her get cleaned up, and then put her into the bathtub. She was crying and shaking the whole time. After I got her into the tub and she started to calm down, I left her and went back into the room. I got everything off of the bed and tried to clean the mattress, but couldn't. I then swapped the mattress with the one from our spare room and got the bed made with all clean sheets, pillows, everything. I got her some clean clothes and underwear put in the bathroom and took the other clothes to the washing room. I joined her in the bathroom afterward and just sat next to her. After she got out, I helped her get dressed and put her to bed. She was still crying at this point, but much calmer. I put her to bed and got in next to her. Since then, she hasn't talked to me. I know this had to be embarrassing for her and not something she wants to talk about, and I understand completely. Accidents do happen. That is all this was, an accident. And I don't need to talk about it. That is her choice. But she doesn't talk to me at all, and avoids me throughout the day. The only thing I got out of her was in the afternoon, calling me AH for not helping her immediately, and staring at her with a horrified look on my face. I haven't made jokes about it, or even brought it up at all. I don't know if I did anything wrong. Should I have done something differently? I know me standing and staring wasn't the best outcome, but getting woken up and seeing that, who wouldn't be in shock at first? Am I the idiot for not helping immediately? Edit to add a bit more information. She does care about her image. Her parents weren't the best to her when she was young, criticizing every little thing about her that they could. From how she looked to what she was wearing. She is working on that in therapy currently, and I have discovered during our relationship that she really does care what I think of her and how I see her. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Can you explain to me why she was crying? I don't understand. She made a mess, and instead of getting up and cleaning after herself, she just sits there crying, expecting you to do it for her? And she has the audacity to get mad at you? What is going on? Am I misunderstanding something? 27-month-old child with this behavior, I'd understand. Comment 2. Not the idiot. It sounds like she's embarrassed and doesn't know how to process it. Regardless, she shouldn't be taking it out on you. She needs to be an adult about the situation. However, if this is how she responds to something like this, I imagine you'll want to make her an ex-girlfriend soon. This isn't a healthy way to communicate with a boyfriend. Now for the update, thanks for sticking around. A lot has happened since the last post. So after my girlfriend stopped talking to me, things got even weirder. She started coming home late without telling me where she'd been. I tried to give her space, thinking she needed time, but it was tough. Then, one day, I came home early from work and found her packing her bags. She said she needed a break and was going to stay with a friend. I was shocked, but I didn't stop her. I thought maybe it was for the best. The next day, I got a call from her friend saying she hadn't shown up. Panic set in. I called everyone we knew, but no one had seen her. It was like she vanished. I filed a missing person report, feeling helpless and scared. I couldn't eat or sleep, just waited by the phone for any news. 4 days later, she walked back through the door like nothing happened. She wouldn't tell me where she'd been, just that she needed to clear her head. I was relieved, but also angry and hurt. We had a huge fight. She accused me of not caring about her feelings, and I shot back that she didn't trust me enough to tell me what was going on. In the middle of our argument, there was a knock at the door. It was her ex, the one she always said was a mistake. He had this smug look on his face, and I knew something was up. He said he was just checking in on her, but I didn't buy it. They talked in whispers, and when I asked what was going on, she told me it was none of my business. I felt betrayed. I couldn't believe she would go to him, of all people. I thought we were past all that. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my keys and left. I drove around for hours, trying to clear my head. When I got back, she was gone again, but this time she left a note. She admitted she'd been seeing her ex behind my back. She said she was confused and didn't know what she wanted. She apologized for hurting me and said she needed time to figure things out. I was crushed. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to hate her, but I couldn't. I just felt empty. A week later, I got a call from her. She was crying, saying she made a mistake and that her ex was trying to control her like he used to. She wanted to come back, but I didn't know if I could trust her again. I told her we needed to talk in person. We met at a coffee shop the next day. She looked different, like the weight of the world was on her shoulders. She told me everything. How her ex had manipulated her, made her feel like she owed him for helping her through a tough time before we met. She was ashamed and didn't know how to tell me. I listened, and I could see the regret in her eyes. I knew she was telling the truth. I told her I forgave her, but things needed to change. We needed to be honest with each other, no more secrets. She agreed, and we decided to start fresh. It's been hard, rebuilding trust, but we're getting there. We're going to therapy together now, and it's helping. We're learning to communicate better, to understand each other's fears and insecurities. It's not perfect, but it's real. We're working through our problems, facing them head on. And I know now, more than ever, that we're in this together. Thanks for reading. My wife said she forgot her phone at the hotel during a concert, but her lacy red thong tells a different story. So I play detective and expose her cheating ways in front of her entire office. My wife and I have been married for 6 years, and all things considered, we have been relatively happy. I work in sales and I am often on the road. My wife, on the other hand, works as a teacher's assistant at an elementary school. The teacher she works with is male. A few months ago, my wife, her male coworker, and 2 other coworkers bought tickets for a concert out of town at the beach. They planned to stay overnight and come back the next morning. Unfortunately, 2 of her female coworkers fell sick on the day of the trip and were unable to go. Since there were no refunds available for the hotel or concert tickets on such short notice, my wife ended up going with her male coworker. They booked multiple rooms, so I felt somewhat okay about it and trusted her. I was slightly uncomfortable with her male coworker since he is basically her boss, but I had no specific reason other than catching him staring a little too long at my wife's chest a couple of times. Also, he seems to be a bit too friendly, almost flirting with my wife. On the night of the concert, I was alone in a hotel room for work when my thoughts started to get the better of me. I turned on the Find My Phone feature and noticed that my wife's phone wasn't at the concert venue, but at the hotel. I checked sporadically throughout the evening, and her phone never moved from the hotel, which was where she should have been at the concert. Moreover, she didn't return any of my calls or texts that night. I finally heard from her the next day during lunchtime when she texted to say she was heading home. Initially, she had planned to go back home first thing in the morning, but she said they decided to spend some time on the beach. In the morning, when I checked her phone again, it still hadn't left the hotel. When I got home that evening, I confronted her about the phone's location. She exploded in anger and asked why I was spying on her. Eventually, she claimed that she forgot her phone at the hotel when they went to the concert and left it in the room the next morning because she didn't want to lose or damage it at the beach. The whole situation felt off. Am I wrong to be suspicious, or is my suspicion justified? Update 1. I plan to casually bring up the concert with her other coworkers and express my disappointment that they couldn't go. I won't reach out to their significant others. 2. The male coworker had the tickets on his phone, which is how they got in. He is single and divorced. 3. I am going to check her phone activity during the concert to see if she truly didn't have her phone with her during those times. 4. I will also review bank statements to see if there are any charges or lack thereof during the time in question. 5. It's worth mentioning that after the initial argument, she has been very affectionate towards me lately. I would prefer if we could work things out, so I will reflect on how I can be a better husband. 6. I don't plan on bringing up the lacy red thong I found in the laundry the week after. I figure she'll just say she bought new underwear, so it's not worth mentioning. I appreciate the input. I don't have many close friends, and this situation is something I feel too embarrassed to seek advice on from someone who knows both of us. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Can you check the truth about the other 2 individuals being sick and not being able to go? Also, can you confirm how many rooms were booked? And lastly, can you confirm the purchase of the tickets and if they were electronic? It sounds like she hasn't been truthful. Final point. Why didn't she contact you when she got back to her phone either after the concert or in the morning? Comment 2. Most concert tickets are digital nowadays. Were hers not? The idea of her being in a new town with a coworker and not having her phone on her is, at best, irresponsible. Did she pack the right things to go to the beach? If it was a last-minute plan, she would have been ill-prepared for a beach day. Too many coincidences here. Now, for the update, thanks for sticking around. So here's what went down. I talked to her coworkers, right? Just casual chit-chat, nothing too nosy. They seemed bummed about missing the concert, but nothing seemed off. Then I mentioned how my wife must have had a blast with her boss, and they just gave me this weird look. Didn't say much, but it was enough to make me wonder. Next, I checked her phone activity. Big mistake. I found out she did use her phone that night, but not at the concert. Calls and texts to numbers I didn't recognize. I felt sick, like someone punched me in the gut. I didn't want to believe it, but there it was. Bank statements were my next move. No charges from the concert venue, but there was a charge from the hotel bar. Late at night, when she was supposed to be at the concert, my heart sank. She's been all sweet and caring since she got back, which is not like her. She's usually more independent, you know? It's like she's trying to cover something up with kindness. I can't shake the feeling that she's hiding something. I haven't mentioned the red thong. I found it again, tucked away in a drawer. It's not her size. That's when it hit me. It's not about the underwear. It's about the trust. I'm not sure I can look at her the same way anymore. I'm trying to be a better husband, but it's hard when your mind is racing with doubts. I've been working late, avoiding going home. It's like I'm scared of what I might find out if I dig any deeper. I'm not sure where we go from here. I thought we were happy, but now I'm questioning everything. It's like I don't even know her anymore. I'm just trying to keep it together, you know? Thanks for reading. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.